All right, welcome to today's webinar. It is just after 10 o'clock, so I can see that everybody is starting to join and sign up. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So the webinar is going to last for about 35 to 45 minutes, depending. And then we're going to have a quick little Q&A session at the end. So on the upper right side of your of the webinar, you're going to have your little chat box there. So make sure to chat there or type in your questions, and we can save those for the end. So in this webinar, I'm actually going to be going over our RV roadmap system. Basically, it's how we do business to be able to help RV dealers sell RVs online and how to present RV dealers in front of their buyers every step of the way. One of the biggest things that I'm a huge advocate of is trying to get the biggest return on investment. Being a small business owner myself, I definitely understand the value that goes along with being able to do something once and get residual income or residual traffic online from it. And so that's one of the biggest things that we're going to be going over in this RV roadmap is how to professionally craft everything that we're doing in business for your dealership and be able to reuse that information to give your dealership the best return on investment. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. The first aspect that we're going to be going over is just the overview. So we need to go over more or less three different things. We need to go over the foundation of internet marketing, just to get everybody caught up so we're all on the same page with everything, so that you could see what the problems are based on the foundations of marketing. So once we can see the foundations, we can see what the problems are inherently, and then I'm going to go ahead and go through our RV roadmap system that'll lay out a step-by-step process for how you can literally market your dealership online. And it's super simple. I'm going to try not to use a whole bunch of tech jargon. So hopefully everything's in simple terms so that everybody can understand it. And so that's going to be the roadmap for today in today's webinar. As we move forward into the foundations of internet marketing or the web service, we're really going to need to focus on two areas. We need to focus on the marketing avenues. So where is it that your buyer lives? And we also need to talk about how to target RV buyers. And I'm going to be going over quickly the 4 stages of the RV buying cycle and how it is that they search online. More specifically, how is it that they search in Google? And so as we start doing the foundation of marketing, we're going to start going over the customer buying cycle. We're going to be going over how customers are searching online, as well as how we can take all of that and interpret that into how to position yourself in Google and other search engines, whether it's Yahoo or Bing or Alta Vista or DuckDuckGo. There's tons of them out there. How to position yourself in those search engines to be able to position yourself in front of buyers. So the next step is going to be basically a little bit of data. So we've pulled the case study from R.L. Polk, who showed that 75% of buyers will buy from a dealer within a 30-mile range. So this is the first step for dealers to be able to figure out, hey, where is my perfect target market? And this shows that it's within 30 miles. Obviously, every dealership is a little bit different. Maybe some dealers are a little bit more on the outskirts. Maybe if you're 45 miles from like the Dallas-Fort Worth area or something like that. Obviously, this statistic isn't going to be quite as accurate. Also, there's going to be some dealers that are going to have real specialty items, items that more or less are kind of custom order type items where the majority of their buyers are going to be from out of state even because of the specialty in which they have their inventory. So, but for the majority of dealers, this holds pretty darn close to accurate. So what this means is that your dealership has to be able to lend itself to the buyers within the 30-mile range. So what that means is that if we were to go and do a search, so let me go ahead and bring up Google here, and we search for like the most common keyword phrase. So in our area, it's Fort Collins RV Dealers. We're a tad bit north of Denver. So this keyword phrase, the RV dealers, and then the local city, your dealership would need to be able to rank there, and within 30 miles of that. And so for the most common keyword phrases. And so that's what we're talking about in terms of, you can see the Google Maps here, in terms of ranking and positioning yourself in front of buyers every step of the way. So the next stage in the buying process, I don't know why it keeps on going back to the home screen here. But the next avenue, now that we've talked about the where they're located, is how they're searching online. So I just went into briefly like a very, very generic keyword phrase, which is the RV dealers. But we've been, or RV dealers and then your local city. But we've been able to break down and kind of categorize RV buyers into 4 main categories. So the newbie, the novice, the expert, and the client. And I'll kind of run through these quickly, as I do have another YouTube video specifically for the RV buying cycle. So search for that in YouTube. But quickly, the newbie is somebody who's obviously they're at the very, very beginning of the buying process. They know nothing about RVing. Maybe they know somebody who like a good family friend who owns an RV that they've been camping with and really enjoyed the process, and they're really wanting to get into it themselves. So they're going to be searching online for things along the lines of, or keyword phrases that are incredibly generic, like RVs for sale and then your local city. So if you're in Denver, RVs for sale, Denver, they're going to search for that keyword phrase, or whatever your city is, right? Or they're going to search for like RV dealer plus your city, or how to buy an RV, what RV is right for me. I mean, incredibly generic things. And so that's the newbie. Once they get all of that that foundation done, they're going to move into the novice section, because at this point they're going to know what class type they're leaning towards. So if they're a snowbird that's going down to Florida during the winter, they may want a fifth wheel or a motorhome. Motorhomes are pretty common, as well as Arizona snowbirds. But they're going to be searching for things like that. So travel trailers, and then Dallas, or travel trailers Miami. So they're going to be searching by class type. So maybe they know that they already have a half-ton truck, and they're only going to be able to tow a travel trailer or a lightweight fifth wheel, something like that, right? So they're further down the buying process. So what this means is that since we're starting to pick out all these different keyword phrases that customers are searching for, it means that we have to have a website that has a specific page for each one of these topics. Google typically says that you can't really rank for more than 2 or 3 keyword phrases at a time. It becomes incredibly difficult. So it means that we have to have a specific page for each type. So we have to have a specific page. In this instance, with the novice, we need to have a travel trailer page that's optimized for travel trailers. And I'll talk about what optimized looks like here a little bit later. But the novice also starts looking for by brand and by floor plan. So if you have an Airstream line, you need to have an Airstream page that lists out all of your Airstreams, or Forest River, or different Thor products. So you need to have a specific page for every every brand and every floor plan. So you can see how the number of pages on your site is starting to build up just by going through these different buying stages. The next stage in the process is the expert. Obviously, the RV dealers and everybody in the RV industry are the experts, but I say that this customer buyer, or this buyer, is the expert because they know exactly what they want, all the way down to the year, make, and model, which means that you have to have a specific page for every RV in your inventory. Some dealers obviously may think that this is elementary and that every RV dealer has a specific landing page for their RVs, but I've seen a lot that don't. Some dealerships will just have like their homepage that just lists out all of their RVs, and you can't click into it to see additional ones. So that becomes a problem for not only the visitor but for Google. Google wants to be able to have a specific page for each one of your models that you have on your lot. The last customer is the client. So obviously these guys are quite a bit different than the first 3 stages, as they are not in the stage of or the process of building up information to buy an RV like the first three. These guys have already purchased their RV, so they're in the stage of obviously traveling and using their RV. So what's pretty common in terms of searching online is that they're looking for RV services, RV parts and upgrades, RV shows, which obviously the novice and the expert are also looking for RV shows at that stage in that buying cycle. Another one is how-to tutorials. It's not listed here on this slide, but that is massive. If you're wanting additional traffic to your website, how-to tutorials, especially YouTube how-to tutorials, are phenomenal. And then travel locations. So this becomes pretty sweet for being able to continually put yourself in position no matter in front of buyers, no matter where they are in the buying process. And this kind of covers all of them, or at least the most common ones. Obviously, you can, after seeing this list, you can start making a list of all the different keyword types and start, adding them to your own list for the newbie, novice, expert, and client, and start creating pages for those. And that becomes pretty important. And so the next stage is, or the next slide, I should say, is really talking about the buy-in statistics. So how is it that customers are searching online, and what devices are they using? I just actually just noticed one little error there. The green bar at the top should actually be 2016, so those two should be switched. So in 2014, the number of people, or the percentage of people using mobile devices to view dealer websites was about 38%, and then 43% in 2015. In 2016 went up to 55%. So think about it this way. If your website is not mobile friendly, you're turning away, or really frustrating, 55% of your visitors. That becomes crucial when, if you have 1,000 people going to your website in a month, 55% of them are going to be incredibly frustrated. 550 are going to be frustrated that they have to continually zoom in, scroll around, and then zoom out on every page in your site. So your website has to be mobile friendly. We're way past the point of just having just a regular static website. So that's one of the things that becomes crucial. And also, Google is actually starting to devalue websites that aren't mobile friendly. So if your site isn't mobile friendly, and Google knows that the user is obviously using a tablet or a cell phone, they will actually kick you off of the first page if you happen to rank on the first page of Google, because they know that their user is using a mobile device and your website isn't mobile friendly. Google isn't going to serve up a list of 10 results, knowing that they're going to serve up a bad user experience. And Google is 100% about the user experience. And so that becomes crucial. So they're actually actually in 2015, they released another update saying that they're starting to move websites down in the rankings because they're not mobile friendly. So your website has to be mobile friendly today. So as we get a little bit further into the customer buying cycle and how they're searching online and the percentages of where everything's coming from, this comes from one of our dealers. And more or less just shows where the traffic is coming from. Basically, how are your customers searching online that's leading to the site? And this is pretty common to have like the organic section in Google with the most traffic, the direct, so customers that already know you, that are searching by your company name, as the second most. Paid search being in there as well, whether it's Facebook ads or Google AdWords. Referral being the next. Usually the referral I can see typically is being number 2 or 3 in the list, but this site doesn't have a lot of referral traffic. And referrals are more or less like RV Trader, RVT, or any other site that has a link that for your business that says click here to go to like your dealership. So that's all the referring traffic. And then the social media obviously is typically some of the lowest. So social media in terms of the non-paid is getting really low, as a lot of dealers aren't really utilizing at least YouTube as a social media. So that's becoming a lot less. And obviously every dealer is a little bit different with their target market. But this is pretty common with how important it is to be able to use organic search to be really the baseline for your dealership. And so as we start like as you'll notice, I've started talking a lot about Google. Like I'm a huge Google organic listing advocate. Um, and before we get into the next slide, let me show you a little bit about the organic or the differences here. So on our previous search here, we were searching for Fort Collins RV dealers. Obviously, at the very, very top here, the first three listings are all designated with the ad text there. So those are the Google AdWords section. You'll follow it up with the Google Maps. So it shows actually our dealer number one in the Google Maps, and then the organic section, Colorado Mountain RV, they're number one as well. But this is the section that every dealer wants to be in. It's called the organic section in Google, and then they have the ads at the bottom and then the related keyword phrases. But this is page one of Google. Google has 10 listings per page, and every dealer wants to be listed number one in Google or on the first page of Google. And so that's what I'm referring to, or I'm going to be referring to a lot in this webinar, is trying to utilize your website to rank in Google and show you as many avenues as we can to be able to get the most return on your investment. That you don't need to do a pay-per-click campaign as the bulk of your traffic when you should be ranking in Google and doing keyword or doing pay-per-click sparingly. And I'll get into that here a little bit later. But along with that, let me get back to the next slide here. So as we looked at the prior screen on the Fort Collins RV dealers, I had mentioned ranking organically is vital. So this is just a general search, obviously with just shopping as the keyword phrase. But this study was actually done quite a while ago, over 12 years ago, by a company called iTools. And they basically did a study to show what ranking received what percentage of clicks. And so obviously being number one, you're going to get the vast majority or over half the clicks. So for instance, if travel trailers Denver, like that keyword phrase, if that has 500 searches per month, you can expect a little over 275 visitors to your website. And so obviously the lower you rank in Google on the first page here, the less traffic you're going to get, just with how customers are using it. So I just wanted to point this out, like the importance of not only just being on the first page, but being in the top 5 is ultimately where you want to be. Being off the first page, like if you search for travel trailers for sale in Dallas or Denver or whatever your city is, and you're not on the first page, that's a huge problem. And obviously this study I mentioned iTools, the study was also done by Cornell. So the next thing is, now that we've talked a ton about how customers are searching, obviously going from what devices they're using, the next thing is to get into Google. I absolutely, like I said before, I love being able to rank in Google. It's one of the it's my biggest background as I came into this industry over 10 years ago, is being able to rank in Google, seeing how Google is doing everything. And being able to help dealers or help businesses to be able to rank their websites in Google. So the first and foremost aspect, or one of the guidelines in ranking in Google, is being mobile friendly. And let me actually change that, is being a responsive website. Mobile friendly is actually pretty dated. So mobile friendly was something that went on from like early 2000s to about 2010. And it really made the shift to being a responsive website. So let me show you the difference here. So a responsive website, we'll pull up one of our clients, Colorado Mountain RV. So if we kind of minimize the screen here, a responsive website is a site that will automatically shift and adjust on the fly depending on the resolution of the screen, or the width of your viewing device. So if you have a tablet, a cell phone, or a phablet is what I call some of them. Some cell phones that are so big they look like a tablet up to your head. So your website needs to be able to lend itself to all of them. Some of the laptops are kind of a combination between a tablet and a laptop. Your website needs to lend itself to all of them. So you'll see on this site, as we start making the site with a smaller width, it starts shifting and adjusting. And we get to a certain point where some of the header section up here, like the store hours and things like that, get completely removed depending on the width. And we get just into the featured RVs with the classes and the brands and the content, and then we get down to the footer section. So having a responsive website, and you can see the must-read articles or must-read articles completely just gets removed. So everything has to shift and adjust on the fly based on the viewer. Like, for instance, I had my dad was buying an RV a little over a year ago, and he was searching all over like the states around Colorado to buy a travel trailer he was looking for. And he was just like, Jason, like, why? He's like, I went to a dealer's website, and he's like, I had to continually scroll in and then like pan around when I was viewing a website on my tablet. He's like, why doesn't this work? like he was mad. And that was the thing. So I just kind of laughed and I said, well, obviously their website isn't mobile friendly. Like, he doesn't get it, and he doesn't have to get it, and that's fine, but he just wants it to work regardless. And that's the way that your customers are, especially with your demographic. If you're, for instance, like I mentioned before, like a Florida or Arizona snowbirds, where you have just tons of people that flock down during the winter time from up north, they're going to be an older demographic, most likely 55s through 70s, 80s. And they are not super tech savvy. My dad's not super tech savvy. And he just wants things to work. And so having a mobile friendly website that automatically shifts and adjusts on the fly is going to be crucial. Another site here, same thing with Southland RV. We can see how the side section kind of shifts and gets smaller as well, and the main section shifts, and then it gets smaller again. This is kind of like tablet view. And then we start getting down into like the smaller tablets. Maybe it's a 7-inch tablet or a bigger cell phone. You can start to see all the different listings, the featured listings and things like that. And then the menu in and of itself, and how that's just easily clickable. So your website has to be designed similarly to this, or at least it has to be a responsive website. So the next avenue is the website structure and the number of pages on it. So I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier in the buying stages in terms of how customers are buying. Well, that gets in heavily into the website structure. And I say website structure, and it means something to me. Maybe it doesn't to you, and that's fine. But the website structure is basically your menu on your website. So I've seen some dealer sites that will have like a menu that just says like all inventory or new and used RVs or something like that. So that's decent, but it's not phenomenal. So what it could be, or the way that I like it at least in my preference, is be able to list out everything that we possibly can in your menu, or the most popular, like having each class type in the menu, having each brand that you carry, or the top brands that you carry. Another site that we work with is Tri-City RV, and you can see they have a ton of different brands within their menu structure and quite a few different floor plans, whereas Colorado Mountain RV only wants to showcase a couple of their brands. And so that becomes crucial. It becomes crucial not only for your customers. Say your customers are looking for Freedom Express here, or maybe a fifth wheel. They need to be able to find it as fast as they can without having to click a ton of buttons, or have to go into your all inventory page and then be able to do a custom search there for fifth wheelers. Like, customers want simplicity, and they want it done like yesterday. So it needs to be incredibly fast, and it needs to be very fluid in how it's presented. And having it in the menu is a fabulous way to be able to do it. So listing out the three biggest things, like I was mentioning before with the customer buying cycle, the customers are looking by class type and floor plan, by brand. They're looking for a specific year, make, and model, and things like that. RV services, RV shows. Things like that. And so it has to be easy to find, like services. What is your service list? And having a specific page for each one of them. Colorado Mountain RV doesn't do RV parking or storage. So that could be something that maybe your dealership has, but you have to have a specific page for. RV consignment, service repairs, winterization's a huge one, especially here in Colorado. And so we have to start creating pages for each one of those. So that's website structure. So that helps not only the visitors, but it helps Google, because Google will actually go through and download each one of these pages here, and then be able to categorize it based on what the site's about to present it to users. So it's a twofold effect. It's for visitors and it's for users. And so the next aspect in terms of the Google guidelines, and I just started getting into it with the website structure, is making sure that your website is search engine friendly. And so what does that really mean? It's incredibly complicated, more or less, but I'll break it down incredibly simple. There's three things that Google's looking for on your website. So if you want to sell travel trailers, for instance, we have in our travel trailer section or our menu, we have travel trailers listed first. And let me show you another site here that's just our demo site where we're using Colorado Mountain RV. We actually have it all categorized based on or filtered based on the most inventory to the least. So you can see travel trailers has 38, fifth wheels has 8, 3, 3. And so we want to prioritize the things that you sell, or you want to prioritize the things that you sell the most of first. Here in the Western Hemisphere, obviously we read left to right and top to bottom, so the things on the upper left-hand corner here are going to be the most important real estate on your website as well as your menu. So having your menu set up like this doesn't need to be alphabetical. I could care less about alphabetical because I want to sell RVs. And that's based on how customers buy. So that's the reason why we have that set up there. So we, so we have the travel trailers there, and then we kind of go down. So that's a part of a little bit of at least the user experience. I've seen some dealer sites where you actually go to their site and you go to click on travel trailers and it comes up with a page with like 0 inventory on it. It's like, oh, we're out of this. So it provides a terrible user experience. So it shouldn't even be listed until you put an RV on there. Just one little side note about that. But so the three things that Google's looking at, they're looking at the title, the header title. It's kind of an SEO. It's in the background, but it's what Google sees. So if you look at your browser, whether you're using, like I'm using Google Chrome, but if you use like Firefox or Internet Explorer, the SEO title is going to be at the top of the browser. So this is optimized and it says travel trailers for sale, Fort Collins, Colorado. I've seen a lot of sites that will have an SEO title that says something like all inventory or the dealership name as the title. That's atrocious. Your SEO title here is what tells Google what the page is about and is one of the most important aspects of ranking in Google. So if you want to rank for travel trailers within your local city, you have to have the three main things. You have to have the SEO title, a search engine friendly URL, and the text on the page of exactly what it's about. So we have the main keyword phrase of travel trailers. The second keyword phrase is for sale, not for rent, not for lease, not storage, not anything. All right, we're specifically telling Google and buyers travel trailers for sale and our local city. This is huge. Like I've seen some pages where like the text here just says all inventory. And then the title at the top of the browser here says all inventory. So you're trying to rank for all inventory. What does that even mean? Right? Like we need to start having our website work for us, driving leads to our site. Or to our business. And so if we're to search for travel trailers for sale, Fort Collins, we want to rank that page. And currently they're number 1 in the Google Maps. They're number 3 or 4 in the organic section. But that becomes crucial. What if, let me bring up Southland RV here. So same sort of thing, Airstream for sale, so Airstream dealers. If we're trying to search for like Georgia Airstream, because you'd want to rank for that if you're an Airstream dealer. Southland RV is number 1, they're number 2 in the maps, number 3, so they're listed 3 times on the page. This becomes crucial, and you see here, that they're ranked number one for Airstream, or on the first page, and their title is Airstream Dealers, and then Airstream Dealer, and then Airstreams for Sale. So all of the, if somebody's searching for Airstream Dealers, they're going to land on their dealer page. If they're searching for Airstreams for Sale, they're going to land on their for sale page for Southland RV. So that becomes crucial. So the three biggest avenues, like I was mentioning, is the SEO title. That's crucial. The URL, having a search engine friendly URL is phenomenal, and it's the only way to go. Like if you just go to your URL and it's, or in this example, it's on the travel trailer page, it says Colorado, Fort Collins, and then travel trailer for sale. That tells Google exactly what the page is about, along with the SEO title, as well as the text on the page. And then there's tons of text on the page here that's talking about the different travel trailers for sale, and it keeps on scrolling. This is huge if you're wanting to rank. Because all of this data backs up exactly what this page is about. And the proof is obviously in the rankings. These guys rank on the first page in the top five. So that's phenomenal. Southland RV is number one, number two, or number one and number three. So that becomes crucial. So those are the three biggest Google guidelines: making sure your website's mobile friendly, or better yet, responsive. And making, one thing I'll point out about the mobile friendly, I forgot to mention when I was talking about it. Mobile friendly websites, some web service companies out there will have a mobile version of your website and say that your website's mobile friendly, and it is, to the point of the mobile version of your website is only viewable on cell phones, not tablets or laptops or the customized laptops that are almost like tablets with the touchscreens and things like that. So that presents a huge problem. Like if I was to view a mobile friendly or a mobile version of a website on my tablet, I still have to scroll in. Maybe the website most likely will either show me the full version or the mobile version, and both of them look terrible on tablets or custom laptops. And so that's a huge drawback with just saying that your website's mobile friendly. It needs to be responsive today. All right, so let's see. So I've got into, obviously just per the last topic there, I've gotten into a lot of the problems that RV dealers are facing. Basically not responsive. They don't rank well in Google, primarily because of the Google ranking factors, being able to have a search engine friendly title, URL, as well as text on the page, and that they, in a lot of cases, don't even have a lot of the pages on their site with the website structures. They don't have travel trailers for sale page. They don't have an Airstream page and things like that. So they don't rank very well in Google. The other problem is they don't necessarily have a strategy to get started, or maybe they just don't know how to get started. So the tips to get started, and so that was one of the biggest points with this webinar, is to be able to do that. And I know it's 10:37 right now, so basically another 7 minutes to kind of finish up here. So I'll kind of get going. Hopefully we can get to the Q&A here in a second. But the solution to that, I'm going to say, is our RV roadmap system. So we've been working with RV dealers for over 7 years now. And the same things keep on coming up with how to present RV dealers in front of buyers. And so we've put together our step-by-step system to help dealers do that, and I wanted to show that to you guys today. One of the biggest areas in terms of traffic generation to your website, because every dealer wants more and more traffic. That's the first thing that I hear from every dealer that calls us is our problem is that we don't have any traffic. And some of them will say, well, we have traffic, but it's not converting, and things like that. But if we're structuring our website the way that I just mentioned before, this traffic pyramid or mountain is going to be set up correctly. At the very, very base in step one, we're going to be, or the website's actually drawn to or built upon a huge foundation of organic traffic. So section one here is really the organic ranking. So ranking your class, your brands, your floor plans, and then your RVs themselves. Also being able to put together a list of a page for each one of your services, having pages for RV parts, and then how-to tutorials, which is actually listed in your blog, or it should be. You guys, every dealer should have a blog on your website because it really starts leading into the how-to tutorials, promotions, RV shows, and repurposing. And I'll get into repurposing here in a second. But the second stage, which is a little bit less traffic, is the social media accounts. There's, like I showed in the prior video with where the traffic sources are coming. Social media and the paid search definitely has a lot less traffic than actually ranking in Google. And so that's where I see that one of the biggest problems with RV dealers is that they're putting a ton of time into social media like Facebook or Pinterest, and they're not seeing any results from it. I see very few people or dealers using YouTube, and it's a huge mistake. Every dealer out there needs to be doing a video walkthrough, and I'll talk about that here in a second. But social media accounts account for a little bit less of the traffic to the dealer. The third section is the pay-per-click campaign, the Google AdWords, Facebook ads, and things like that. Gosh, man, I see this all the time, and it's frustrating for me because I'm all about return on investment and trying to get the most out of it, out of every dollar I spend. And I know RV dealers are the same way, but pay-per-click campaigns are crazy expensive, don't have a great return on investment, or their conversion rates aren't as good as organically ranking in Google. And Facebook ads can be really expensive as well. So one of the things I see is that dealers will actually have this pyramid or this mountain upside down. They'll spend all of their revenue on pay-per-click campaigns and not invest any money into actually ranking, when ranking is the actual long-term strategy that gives your dealership the most traffic and you rank. So the difference is that a pay-per-click campaign, when your daily budget is already met, so say you do like $10 a day, which is $300 a month, once your $10 a day is spent, you don't get any more traffic. But if you rank, you're getting all of that traffic for that entire day. If you're ranking on the top 5, which you should want to be, if you're ranking in the top 5 of Google, you're going to get all the traffic for the rest of the day and for the rest of the month. So for instance, if it's like $1 a click, you're only going to get 10 visitors that month or that day, and 300 that month instead of the rest of it, which could be thousands. And so that's the difference, is that you want your dealership to build up the bulk of its traffic by ranking in Google and using social media accounts to bolster that, as well as using pay-per-click campaigns where you don't rank yet. For instance, and I'll do a quick little explanation here. So we had a dealer, Southland RV, who just picked up this last year the Airstream line. So we didn't have a page created. We obviously didn't rank for it yet. So when they took on the Airstream line, we created a custom page for them, and we did actually a pay-per-click campaign for the first, I believe it was 3 months that they were an Airstream dealer. So pay-per-click is fabulous for when you don't rank for something, like in this instance, you're taking on a new line, and you want to use a pay-per-click campaign until you rank for something, and then you can taper it off. That's the huge bonus of pay-per-click, is that you can drive instant traffic, start getting revenue from that, and then you can start tapering off the pay-per-click. So the pay-per-click shouldn't be the primary means of ranking. So you'll see here they rank number 1, number 2 in the Google Maps, and then number 2 for Airstream. Everything Airstream in Georgia and Atlanta, they rank number 1 or number 2. But initially they weren't, so we took out the ad to be able to get them the instant traffic. And so that's my strategy for using pay-per-clicks and AdWords and Facebook ads and things like that. Use like free social media as much as you possibly can. Like I said, I think it's the second most important. And so that's how I approach that in terms of generating traffic. The nuts and bolts of the roadmap system is, like I mentioned before, having a mobile-friendly website. And that's obviously responsive. All of the on-site SEO, which is the second stage, making sure that you have the correct site structure with the number of pages and making sure that each one of those pages is optimized for Google with the URL and the text on the page and the SEO title. And then creating content. So this is one of the biggest things. So Google actually weighs their rankings a fair amount on the content on the page, and the media that's on it is huge for buyers. And so one of the things I would suggest is really putting more time into creating content. The more content you could create on your page, the better. I did another video that talks specifically about this on ranking, how to rank RV dealers in Google. So do a YouTube search on that because I really go into the content side of it. And then creating media. So I would say bare minimum with regards to, actually that'll go into the next topic, so I'll kind of share that. I'll hold off on going into details on that because I'll talk about it here in a second. But creating lots of content and media. Media is then pictures, video walkthroughs, PDFs, and things like that. The next stage is making sure that we can share it online. Everything that we create here, be able to share it on all the free sites online, social media. And I'll go into the most popular ones here in a minute as well. And then link building and what that means, that basically you're wanting to get other links from other websites. So if I read an article on Infule, just saying how, we just built out your web service, and here, they're an amazing RV dealer. They sell, travel trailers. Go check out their website, and I have a link that says click here that goes to your website. That's considered a backlink and really can help out your position in Google. So content repurposing, I'll get to that here in a little bit as well, which is a phenomenal way to get tons of traffic to your website. And then reputation management. So making sure that you have amazing reviews on Google, Yelp, Better Business Bureau, and things like that. All right, so I'm going to try to finish up. I know it's 10:45, so I'm going to try to finish up here in the next couple minutes so we can get to the questions. And so creating content and media, this is huge. So on every single page, I know that a lot of dealers have like data feeds from their web service company or from NADA or whoever, but that shouldn't be all the content that's on each one of your sales pages. I recommend to have at least 500 to 1,000 words for each one of your RVs. And so I know that starts to get to be a lot, but it's absolutely crucial with this process because we're going to do a lot more with it than just sell an RV initially, but it helps with selling an RV initially. So we're going to repurpose all of this content that you're going to create. So you're not just blowing your money, which is the reason why, or blowing your time, which is the reason why dealers don't create content. But photo walkthroughs, man, take a lot of pictures all around it. As many as you can, or your web service will allow, of the interior and exterior. Customers love to scroll through little slideshows when they're on their tablets and just go through the images to see the RVs. So make sure that you're definitely taking photographs. Minimum of 20 is what I've seen ranking on Google. I did a different case study that shows how rankings increase with the more photographs that you have. And the minimum on the first page of Google was 20. So I went up to 20 to 45 images for page 1 of Google. So that's a little tidbit for you. Video walkthroughs are massive. Make sure that you're doing a video walkthrough on every RV that you have. And this is why. So if you're to do a video walkthrough, say you have 50 RVs on your lot and you 50 different models, right? And you were to do a video walkthrough, just 5-minute walkthrough where you just go through the exterior and you just talk about the specifications, the benefits of it, how it compares to the prior models of the exterior and interior, and then upload it to YouTube. That video's on YouTube forever, which makes it incredibly popular. We have one of our dealers that puts video, or 2 months ago just put a video walkthrough on YouTube and has 1,000 views in 2 months. That's 450 additional viewers to your website, and they have a link to the website in the description. It makes it amazing. YouTube is the second largest search engine behind Google, and so customers are really going to video for especially RVs. Obviously they're doing it for a lot of things like how-to tutorials. You want to see a video instead of just reading the description. And the same thing for buying an RV. So the more videos you could do, the better. So if you were to have done 50 videos this last year, say you had 50 RVs on your lot, you would have 50 videos now on YouTube. And say you sold all 50 of them, you have 50 new models. You'd have, after the course of the second year, you'd have 100 YouTube videos. And if it averages, let's just say for sake of example, 450 views per month times 100, that is a lot of traffic back to your website. So video, and it's all free. It's phenomenal. All you need to do is use your cell phone with your corded mic. So it creates a phenomenal avenue for traffic. PDFs are amazing to be able to put them on PDF sharing websites, as well as Pinterest and things like that. So use that. Use the manufacturer one, brochure, but just edit it and put your logo on it, as well as your contact info, so they can contact you, and obviously upload that to your website. So the most popular social media sites. So here's the deal. So once we actually start creating all of this phenomenal content, so we start going through and we say we want to, let me get into one where I think they have a lot of content here, because we're on their website live. Once we start creating all of this content, so with the 2017 Freedom Express, they have tons of images here. They have a little bit of content, not as much as I would want them to have, but that's totally up to them. So they have a fair amount of content. The amazing thing is that once we create all of these images, we're able to easily share it online. The hardest part is creating all of this. Let me go into Tri-City RV. I'm pretty sure they have lots of content on theirs and videos. So these guys do a lot better job filling out everything, but it makes them easier to rank. So we can take all of this and repurpose it and put it on social media. So obviously the social media sharing sites: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Google+, Tumblr, and Instagram. So what I would prioritize from everything that I've seen with RV dealers specifically, I'd prioritize it as YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, and Tumblr. I would actually say to actually test it out for a week. Post on all of them if you don't know where your clients are residing. So post on every single one of these, and then after 2 weeks, go into Google Analytics or your statistic tracking software and see which one sent you the most traffic, and take the top 3 or 4 and just don't post to the rest of them, but just post to and spend your time on the top 3 or 4. YouTube should be at the very, very top of your list. Facebook, Pinterest. I'm not sure if you know, but Pinterest actually holds the female demographic a lot, way more than the male demographic. And so if you're really trying to target the female demographic, start creating kind of designer images, whether you take a photograph and you put it in Microsoft Publisher or even Photoshop or Illustrator, but do a custom little design that kind of shows some of the specs and things like that with the title of the RV, and put that on Pinterest. So class it up just a little bit, make it a little bit more designer, and that's a fabulous way as well. But test them all out and see which ones work, and then just don't waste your time on the ones that don't, and post to the ones that do. I know that Facebook is getting a lot harder to do all the free stuff. Like I had mentioned before on the traffic area, Facebook is not, they're trying to make money on their site, obviously. So they're trying to balance your news feed, and the paid ads and the websites that you like. So they're showing the majority paid ads versus the free ads. A recent case study came out that said that the Facebook business pages have a 0.9% view rate because they are competing against the news feeds. They are competing against the paid section. So posting an ad, or you're posting just on your business page, has a 0.9% view rate. Terrible. So I'm not a huge fan, just because of the return on investment. If you're spending a ton of time, that's not worth the investment. So whereas YouTube's phenomenal. So the next stage is, or the next step I should say, is making sure that you rank in Google. So I just mentioned before how backlinks really influence rankings. Well, this is why. So it's basically a big popularity contest with the web page. So the specific page that you want to rank for with the most backlinks is going to rank the highest. So if you want to rank your travel trailer page, like we saw in Colorado Mountain RV, they have the most travel trailers. If you want to rank that page for like Colorado travel trailers, you need to have the most backlinks going to that specific page. Not to your home page, but to your travel trailer page. Or if you want to rank for Airstream, have all your backlinks go to your Airstream page. I've seen a lot of dealers that will have links from their manufacturer. So if it's Thor or Forest River or Airstream, whoever, they go to their homepage. It provides a terrible user experience. Think about it. If your homepage doesn't have Airstream anywhere on it, and the link that comes from Airstream goes to your homepage, now you just frustrated them. The visitor has to search into your site for Airstream. They have to go to your all inventory. Then they have to select the manufacturer of Airstream or whatever the brand is. And so this is crucial. So making sure that you're like for instance, with Southland RV, when we did the Airstream, we had Airstream linked to their Airstream page. So that's considered one backlink. And so just in this simple example here, so small business PR tips, the number, forward listing here has 2 backlinks. So if we want to rank and outrank the number 4 guy or listing there, we know that our site needs to have at least 3 backlinks to take over that number 4 position. That's how Google does it. So obviously you need all the on-page stuff with the URL and title and stuff like that, but backlinks are huge. And so you need to have somebody in your business at least building backlinks or reaching out to the other industry websites to say, hey, we've been working together for a while. Can you, like on your business listing page, can you just put our website on there? And most everybody is happy to do so. So here's the next and the last step that I'll be talking about in this webinar. So content repurposing. So the most common thing, man, I see this 99% of the time and it drives me insane. It drives me up a wall. So 99% of RV dealers on their sales content, so your specific listings, will take all of this content. You spent how much time creating all of the images, writing all the descriptions, and doing videos. And once the RV sells, and you're not going to get another one, they delete them. 99% of RV dealers do that. That is not the way to go. As I mentioned before, I'm a huge advocate of doing things once and getting paid for it forever, and trying to set up dealers with the exact same business model. And the best way to do that is to turn all of this sales content, once you're done selling your RV and you're not going to get another one in, into a review. And so Tri-City RV actually does this already. So they take all of their inventory, and once they sell it, you can see that in their blog they have a category of reviews. And so the review is nothing more than just the copy and pasted images and descriptions and specs from the RV, but they post that as a review. That is the best way to go to be able to continually build up the base, like we're talking here, of free traffic to Google. Because think about it, like when you go to search for, like, let's say a cell phone, so you want to buy like the next Samsung, what do you type in Google? You'll search for Samsung S8 or whatever version they're on, right? Review. Or iPhone review, or iPhone S25, whatever they're on, right? So iPhone review, and you search for that in Google. People do your RV buyers do the exact same thing. And so the best way to get additional traffic as well as additional rankings, because no dealer is doing this. No dealer is creating a review page, and it creates a phenomenal base for the traffic. So that's the system that we have for our RV roadmap system. And I know we're heading right up against the clock here. So that's the system that I recommend, or that we do for our RV dealers for getting them ranking number 1. As you see with Colorado Mountain RV, Southland RV, Tri-City RV, all of these dealers are ranking number 1, number 2, number 3 because of this system. The next aspect that actually didn't cover is just reputation management. So making sure that you have a system in place in your dealership when somebody sells, or when you sell an RV, making sure that you have a system in place to help them go to your Google business profile and write a positive review. Just like traveling, wherever you travel, I know we did this quick search at the very beginning for RV dealers within the local city. They have 20. Colorado Mountain RV has 25 reviews, and then 11, and then 3 for their second location. This is huge when customers are searching online. Just like when you travel. When you travel, you look for the hotel that has the most 5-star reviews, or the car rental, or whatever, right? And so customers are doing the same thing, and reviews are a huge part of that. So making sure you have a system set up at the closing process to capture positive, or at least the best positive reviews that you can. So with that said, thank you so much for viewing the webinar. I know we're going to get to the questions here in 1 second, but if you're looking for web service or SEO service for your dealership, definitely check out InfuleRVs.com, as well as visit our website, or give us a call at 970-639-0777. And I'll look forward to talking to you soon. We'll answer the questions here in 1 second.